The Arafura and Timor Seas represent a portion of the Coral Triangle in the Southeast Asian waters. These waters have the highest biodiversity in the world and represent important habitat for many marine species, such as whales, dugong and turtles. The high productivity of the Arafura and Timor Seas has allowed human populations to exist along the coasts of the littoral nations, relying upon marine resources for sustenance, food security and livelihoods. The problems. With the expanding coastal populations, urbanization and the effects of climate change, certain problems have arisen and the future of the Arafura and Timor Seas region is uncertain. As the coastal populations increase,
Program Arafura and Timor Sea Ecosystem Action atau yang disebut Atsea merupakan suatu program yang bertujuan untuk melestarikan sumber daya pesisir dan laut yang ada di Laut Timor dan Laut Arafura.
According to Part 9 of the United Nations Convention of the Sea, the resources of semi-enclosed seas, such as the Arafura and Timor Seas, are to be cooperatively managed by the littoral nations. In June 2002, representatives from Indonesia, Timor-Leste and Australia formed the Arafura and Timor Seas Expert Forum, known as Atsea, to be joined by Papua New Guinea in mid-2011. Atsea is a non-binding forum to foster collaboration between government and non-government organizations from the representative nations in the pursuit of the sustainable use of the living resources of the Arafura and Timor Seas. To accomplish the goals set out by Atsea, the Arafura and Timor Seas Ecosystem Action Program, known as Atsea, was created.
Komitmen Indonesia yang telah meratifikasi UNCLOS tahun 1982 yang berdasarkan bab 9 pasal 122 dan 123 bahwa suatu perairan semi-enclosed seperti Laut Arafura dan Laut Timor harus dikelola secara bersama.
Atsea is the mechanism by which Atsea will identify the root causes of the problems facing the Arafura and Timor Seas.
The benefit of the project itself is to assist the government of Timor-Leste implementing some activities that are not covered by the state government budget.
So Atsea was commencing back in 2010 by the inception workshop we had in Delhi in July of 2010, and this is a 4-year project. So now we have been to the 1.5-year project durations.
Atsea, the area, Indonesia, Australia, Timor-Leste, Papua New Guinea. The Arafura and Timor Seas are rich in living and non-living resources, such as fish and oil and gas. The seas are semi-enclosed by the 4 nations of Indonesia, Timor-Leste, Australia and Papua New Guinea. And many coastal peoples rely on the marine resources for livelihoods, food security and sustenance. The goal of Atsea is to attain ecologically sustainable management and use of the living coastal and marine resources. Project Objective. The objective of Atsea is to ensure the integrated, cooperative, sustainable, ecosystem-based management and use of the living coastal and marine resources, including fisheries and biodiversity, of the Arafura and Timor Seas.
Yang pertama, tatanan lokal. Jadi kita bisa mengambil ide-ide dari setiap kabupaten provinsi yang ada di wilayah Arafura dan Timor. Jadi berdasarkan inspirasi dari wilayah tersebut, dari stakeholder tersebut, bisa kita angkat menjadi satu strategic action plan. Selanjutnya di tatanan nasional. Tentunya kebijakan yang diambil adalah nasional sehingga beberapa kementerian akan terlibat di sana. Di antaranya Kementerian Kelautan dan Perikanan, Badan Perencanaan Pembangunan Nasional, Lingkungan Hidup, Kementerian Luar Negeri, serta kementerian-kementerian lain yang mempunyai kepentingan di Laut Arafura dan Laut Timor.
Atsea will complete a Trans-Boundary Diagnostic Analysis, or TDA, across national borders, allowing the Arafura and Timor Seas ecosystem to be seen as a whole.
I think that the Atsea program is a really nice program because it brings together all interested parties from the 4 different countries of Indonesia, Timor-Leste, Papua New Guinea and Australia, and provides a great opportunity to build realistic working relationships, and involves academics and people from the government departments as well as non-government organisations, and provides an opportunity to build strong working relationships which will also be useful into the future.
Thus allowing Atsea to identify the most effective cooperative methods for ecosystem and resource management.
The expectations of Atsea from PNG is to address trans-boundary issues, especially IUU fishing. In that area, there's a lot of IUU fishing taking place between especially PNG and Indonesia. Secondly, is capacity building and training in terms of young scientists to be on board the cruise ship, so they can be able to learn from their counterparts from the other 3 countries. And thirdly, especially to address common issues affecting especially, not so much Australia, because Australia is especially between PNG, Indonesia and Timor-Leste. I think that's what PNG expectations when joining this project.
Information collected by Atsea will ensure that future projects are in accordance with the biophysical, socio-economic and environmental needs of the local and general areas in the Arafura and Timor Seas.
We have been asked to deliver several components. The important one is the Trans-Boundary Diagnostic Analysis, and then the Strategic Action Program, which we have to formulate, and then the implementation of the pilot projects. And the last component that we have to deliver is the regional mechanisms. This mechanisms is important because we will have the approval from the government of 4 countries, now 4 countries with the inclusion of Papua New Guinea, to agree on what kind of mechanisms, cooperation mechanisms that will bring 4 countries agrees on a set of management measures. And this is will be the pinnacles of Atsea.
The components of the Atsea project are, firstly, the Trans-Boundary Diagnostic Analysis. This identifies the Arafura and Timor Seas transboundary priority environmental problems, environmental and socio-economic impacts, sectoral and root causes, and governance analyses. The second component is the development of the Strategic Action Plan, known as the SAP, and the National Action Plans, referred to as NAPs. The third component is implementation of the SAP and the NAPs. Fourthly, the Regional Cooperation Mechanism aims to develop and strengthen Atsea as an effective regional mechanism for the cooperative ecosystem-based management of the Arafura and Timor Seas region. And the final component relates to project coordination and management. A second cruise took place in 2011 using the research vessel Solander, completing the biophysical analysis of the region. Concerning the socio-economic assessment of the region, this took place in 2011 and considered the anthropological and statistical analysis of the socio-economic factors of the Maluku, Indonesia region of the Arafura and Timor Seas, including government administration, population demographics, religion and traditional practices, education, employment, health, poverty, welfare status and GDP, ethnic groups and languages, and traditional resource management.
Hal lain yang saya harapkan sebagai luaran dari aksi program ini adalah terciptanya suatu mekanisme kerja regional yang saling menguntungkan keempat negara di dalam tatanan penelitian maupun pengelolaan di perairan Laut Arafura dan Laut Timor bagi kepentingan masyarakat pesisir pada khususnya.
Yes, the expectation of Timor-Leste to the implementation of Arafura Timor Sea project is to complementary to the government activities plan of action and to achieve regional cooperation among countries bordering Arafura Timor Sea, and then to assist the government of Timor-Leste capacity building for the government officials and scientists to sharing experience.
Would like to acknowledge with grateful the partners that have been supporting the project. Number one, the UNDP and UNOPS as the implementing and executing agencies, as well as, of course, the governments of the four countries, Indonesia, Timor-Leste, Australia, and Papua New Guinea. But last but not least, the involvement of the district governments, kabupaten, NGOs, and CBOs that have been involving in the discussion and consultations throughout the projects.
Populasi penduduk di Laut Arafura dan Laut Timor itu hanya 1% dari seluruh populasi penduduk Indonesia. Namun demikian dari segi ekologi, ekonomi dan politik, keberadaan kedua laut ini sangat penting bukan saja untuk Indonesia, tetapi juga untuk seluruh region di situ dan untuk dunia.
Atsea sangat penting karena lewat forum ini kami bisa saling tukar pengalaman maupun tukar ilmu pengetahuan dan teknologi, sehingga pemanfaatan sumber daya alam di Laut Arafura dan Laut Timor ke depan akan semakin lebih baik.
Kami dari program Small Grant Program Indonesia sangat mendukung sekali program Atsea ini berjalan karena akan melibatkan komunitas masyarakat pesisir nelayan di 4 negara, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, dan Australia. Dan kami sangat mengharapkan bahwa program Atsea ini akan melibatkan masyarakat sejak awal, sejak perencanaan, pelaksanaan, kemudian melakukan proses monitoring evaluasi agar kepemilikan itu terasa di masyarakat. Karena program Atsea ini akan bekerja di Laut Timor dan Laut Arafura, dan semoga kedepannya dengan keterlibatan 4 negara ini, Laut Timor dan Laut Arafura akan terjaga.